I'm a guitarist. I've been a guitarist for 65 years, more or less a freelance guitarist. In fact, in my career, I've only had like one or two steady jobs, like being on staff at NBC and ABC, and that was it. But everything else is as a freelance musician. The 7-string guitar is developed by one of my heroes. Is this guitar, which has got an extra string on it. See, and it was developed by George Van Epps on the West Coast, and in I think it was 69. He came to New York to demonstrate it for the Gretsch guitars, because he taught Gretsch into making, manufacturing 7 strings. And we were so impressed that we went down to Manny's Music Store on 48th Street and practically bought out all the existing 7 strings that they had. So I bought mine right away. I said, that's for me. I just started playing it the next day. Not that I knew how to play it, but I avoided the string, and then later on I found out how to utilize it. An octave lower than your 5th string. So when you're playing the old 6-string guitar, you're playing this. That's all you have for a bass note. Now I have. Guitar I always used was the rhythm guitar, which that's how I started when I played my first job in 1943. I just got out of high school, and I played with Vaughn Monroe's band, and World War II was going on, and they were drafting a lot of musicians out of the bands, and Vaughn himself, the leader, got a deferment. So he had disbanded the band. I think he was going to service and he didn't go. Yeah. So he said, let's get the band back together, because we had some bookings. So they called me, the other guitarist that left. They went back to Boston. So I jumped on a bus and went to Scranton, Pennsylvania, and played a one-nighter with them. And we played in Binghamton and Rochester. I think one year we did 201 night stands. Play the job, jump on a bus, go to another city, check in, play the job, the same thing over and over again. But we had a lot of fun on the And then the rock and roll thing hit real big in New York. And that's where they were hiring all guitar players. If you owned a guitar, you got a job. So we did like the Dion and the Belmonts and Stand By Me, Benny King, and first time ever I saw your face. Who did Georgia on My Mind? Ray Charles. I did recordings like that. And I never realized that which records I made. You know, a lot of them were hits. I didn't know I was on them. That's how many. We did 3 sessions a day in those days. A father and son went to a Met game, and on the way back they got in a deadly crash. They were killed. And in his will, he wanted us to play at his funeral. He was a big fan of ours. And I met the pastor, Genzel. His name was Genzel. And he said, you got to do me a favor, and you got to play at this funeral, 8 o'clock in the morning, out on Long Island, you know. I said to George Barnes, we have to do this, you know. He's a big fan of ours. So let's go. I met him early in the morning, and we drove way out on Long Island. We get there, and we're playing sad music. And Genzel says, now listen, we want happy music now. I want you to play your zippiest song. In those days, our zippiest song was a song called Pick Yourself Up. And we automatically went into that. So we played the song and we got out of there. We didn't even think about it, you know, because we used to play it all the time. After a while, there was an opening on NBC again, and I decided to go with the Tonight Show. Sketch was like a father to me then. He always led me in the right direction, you know. I did jingles with him even before I did the Tonight Show. And he even sat in with me at the Shanghai Jazz on my gig. He came out just to play the piano with us. He became a good friend of mine, and I miss him. He knocked everybody out. I mean, he was so good. You know, that's what he used to do, was play the piano. We had to do a lot of things from off the top of our heads that's why they called us to do that job. And you never know, you had to play for somebody that comes on and wants to sing, and especially guitar, you gotta back them up. And I was prepared for that, so when anybody had to do anything and I had to be with them, I knew what to do because I was doing it all my life, in the nightclubs. He featured me, whenever somebody would cancel out the last minute, they would pick on different people in the band to play a solo. I got a national exposure maybe at least 10 times. And I think Benny Goodman heard me there, and he called me to go with his band in 1970. And I went to Europe with Benny. I always wanted to play with the band, and I was still on staff, but I took a leave to go for 6 weeks. We played 26 cities in Europe. It's kind of hard putting a band together and keeping everybody happy for 6 weeks. But it was a great experience. This year is Benny Goodman's 100th anniversary, and we'd like to play Stompin' at the Savoy. Yeah! He was one of my big heroes. When I always heard about Benny when I was going to grammar school, I was told that he had the best band, and they were right. He had a great band, and he had a lot of great musicians in his band that he made famous. Harry James, Gene Krupa, Teddy Wilson, Lionel Hampton. He made stars out of every one of them. So you got to give the guy credit for doing that. I enjoyed doing this, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. I like the music that I played, or whoever wants me to play something else, and that's what makes it interesting. Everything's different. Every gig is a brand new day. Well, the other thing is nobody can fire me. I work for you, I work for them, I work for everybody. That's the best part.
Pizzarelli, ladies and gentlemen. Bucky Pizzarelli. John Coliani on piano, Nicky Perrott on bass, Yoshi Lupalo. Thank you very much. Bucky Pizzarelli.
Fantastic. And of course, the Let's Pull Trio.